I know you probably don't want to talk about cigarettes and patios too much, but I never actually heard the story of everything I've seen. It always just says this song went crazy and now I'm big, but I never heard the story behind the song.
Oh, this is a great story. I was signed into a production deal. This is when I originally met the guy I was just talking about, produced by Cappy, Lou Yo, all those producers. Lou Yo was actually the guy, like, he's pretty much a big brother to me. He brought me into this production deal. We might have gone over this a little bit. I'll summarize it quickly. I was signed to this production deal with this producer named Develop. We had this whole, I was the one white guy in this whole group of Universal Music Latin people.
Okay.
I was like the only white guy.
Sure.
You know, and I was around all these guys that really were coming up in the moment because J Balvin, they were producing for another friend of mine, Fuego, who's a Spanish artist. And he was really early on the trap wave in like way before Bad Bunny was doing it. I remember like him telling me about Bad Bunny before Bad Bunny was Bad Bunny. And now Bad Bunny is obviously huge. But he was like, it's almost kind of sad because he was a little early to the trap wave, about 2 years early. So it just goes to show how much timing is involved in quote unquote luck in music. But Fuego, super talented, still doing his thing. They had a song with J Balvin on that album, on his album. And this was right when J Balvin, like right before Mahente, all of that started blowing up. Sure. So all these guys got a cut on the J Balvin album. They all won a Latin Grammy that year.
Wow.
So like all these guys from Fort Myers, besides a couple people from Miami, but the guys that I knew from Fort Myers were winning, and they were like surrounded by a whole bunch of people that were winning, you know, at the time. Universal Music Latin was huge, you know, and Latin music was really taking over. Like this, it was taking over. Reggaeton was everywhere and still is. And the plan was actually for me to, and I was just young and trying to get my toes in the water any way I could. And I love everything, like I said, as you know, because I'm dropping house songs right after I dropped an alternative album. But the plan for me was to make a English reggaeton album.
Okay.
So we made it. We made the first 6 songs. Okay. And then they're like, hey, we should go to LA. You know, we know this, my current publisher, Pulse. You know, we know these people out there. You should meet. You know, let's just start connecting. We'll help you pay for the trip because I'm broke. Sure. We'll help you pay for the trip. Let's go out to LA. You know, things will be good. It'll be a great trip. And so we're like, okay, let's do it. We book it. All of us, like a huge group of us from Fort Myers, Miami, Florida.
Was this the first time you ever been to LA?
Ever.
Because you're like 18 or something.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah, 18.
Okay.
I'm just like freshly 18, I think. And we're going to LA. We get to LA, and I got these 6 songs, right? And we get in a session with this guy, Rush Like a Thrill, Rush Davis, awesome writer, still love him dearly to this day. We're like working on these songs the first day. We're all high as side note. And we're working on all these songs, and we like are getting them we're polishing them. We're getting them to a really good spot. And the idea is to sign me to Universal Music Latin as the like kind of quote unquote first English reggaeton artist.
Okay.
Right? Or at least we thought, or whatever.
Yeah.
We're in LA. We park on Sunset Boulevard. They leave their backpacks in the back of the car. Some guy, we leave for like 1 hour.
Yeah.
We come back to the car. The windows are smashed. Right. Backpacks are gone. I'm like this little ignorant, naive at the time. And I'm like, wow, my records are gone. You know, once I realize these dudes, like, I don't realize have records with like Kodak Black, like, you know, different people that are like buzzing, you know, Anita, you know, Juanes, like buzzing motherfuckers at the time, like dudes that are really getting it done. And so I'm sorry, this is a long story, but it's a good story. And so everybody's pissed off. Like Luyo doesn't want to even talk to me. He just goes, we're all staying in this little Airbnb. He won't even like come out of the room. Everybody just lost their shit.
Yeah.
Like everything. And like back then, I don't know, maybe Cappy might have been the only guy that had it backed up. Sure. You know, like it wasn't hip to back your shit up yet. I advise everybody back your shit up. I just had this happen to me last tour. And so long story short, the second day of the second to last day, or it was the last day, sorry, the last day of us being in LA was the Pulse annual party for Pulse publishing group who I'm signed to now. And so Develop is like, hey, everybody's pissed off, but look, this is a great event. We should go. You can meet some people. Let's do it. I'm at this point, I packed a bag. I got a suitcase with me. I'm going to the Pulse party with a suitcase, and I'm like, well, I can't bring it to the party. Where do I put it? My friend, Austin Tompkins, is shooting photos for a guy in Mid-City in LA called DeVault. He was a DJ now. He's one of my good friends now. We drop our suitcases off at the house in Mid-City, me and my best friend, Aaron. And we're like, we're going to this party. He's like, oh, it's cool. Leave him here. I meet DeVault, who's now a good friend, Sage. Bipolar Sunshine, right? That's the first time I met him. I did Funny Thing About Love with him on The Sun Wakes Up Earlier now. Great friend of mine now, too. Crazy to look back at this. Actually co-wrote one of the songs on that first DeVault EP, which y'all motherfuckers know what I'm talking about. I was helping on that hook. But I didn't know how to like step up to the plate and say, y'all owe me some credit. And now they're both good friends of mine. So I don't care. But we leave the bags. I meet DeVault's manager at the time, Guncan. Again, now one of my best friends. I literally just went to Miami and stayed in his house in Miami like 2 months ago. Duncan tells me, he goes, you can stay at my house. Or I'm sorry, he doesn't say this. I meet Duncan. He kind of shakes my hand. Oh, Jake's an artist. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, whatever, you know, like kind of brushes me off his shoulder because he doesn't know who I am. Right. And I don't have a name for myself. I'm a nobody. We walk into the, fast forward 2 hours later, we walk into the Pulse party. I'm with Develop. And as we're walking in, this guy, Duncan, who I just met randomly 3 hours ago, is walking out to go grab somebody from the street. Total randomness. Had no idea he was going to be there. And like, it's a big party, but it's like a big city. Right. Like Los Angeles. You had no idea. He's like, and he looks, and then crazy, he looks at Develop and goes, Develop! And he knew Develop. So then he's talking to Develop, and he's like, oh, wait, oh, this is my new artist. You know, I just signed him. I'm developing him. And Duncan's like, this is ironic, but I just met him 3 hours ago at my house. And he looks at me and he goes, if you ever need a place to crash, you're welcome to stay on my couch.
Wow.
And I'm like, you don't know who you're saying this to. Like, I'm from Fort Myers, Florida, bro, and I'm broke. Like, I didn't say that, but in my brain, I'm like, I'm going to use that couch.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm with my best friend. He's seeing all this go down. He's like, this is crazy, dude. And he's like he's got dreads. He's a very like hippie guy, you know?
Sure.
And so, at least at the time. And so we walk into this party. I meet this guy, Shayon Daniels, would Develop. Oh, yeah, I'm a producer. I'm meeting all these different people, whatever. But Shayon's one of the guys. He's like, yeah, man, if you're in town next time you come down, I'd love to work. Like, we work out of this great studio, which is another set of lore that maybe nobody knows. It was will.i.am's studio.
Whoa.
In Glendale. And so it was his personal spot. It was called Jenga Studios, and they rented a couple rooms, and he rented one of the rooms there with another guy. And he's like, yeah, if you're ever back in LA, we'll work on a song. I was like, okay, cool. And now it gets time to like call the Uber to go to the airport, to grab our bags and go to the airport. And I get in the Uber with my best friend, and I'm like, dude, this is just too crazy, man. Like, what are the odds I meet this guy 3 hours, and then we go to this thing, and he's there, and he offers me his couch to stay on. And now, like, I'm getting the opportunity to go record in this awesome studio with this guy who, like, wants to believe in me without even knowing anything about me.
Yeah.
Which I learned is very LA. But, but at the time was amazing to me. And so we're in the Uber. We're, like, a mile away. I'm like, dude, this doesn't feel right. He's like, dude, if you don't want to do it, stay. And I'm like, that's crazy. I don't know this guy. He offered me his couch. Like, what do you... And I asked the Uber. I'm like, yo, what do you think I should do? He's like, man, this is Los Angeles. You should stay, bro. And I'm like, all right, turn this around. So he turns it around, drops me off, and I keep, going to the party, whatever, connecting with people. I met some other people there that I ended up working with as well. And, 2 days later, I end up staying. Develop was staying another week. The rest of the guys from Florida left. They're like, oh, okay, you're staying. Cool, do your thing. Started staying on Duncan's couch. He's like, you're welcome to stay. stay there probably 2 weeks, too long. But 2 days later, we go into Django Studios, and like Cheon's a great piano player, and he's like, what do you like? And I'm like, at the time, I'm really into like Chance the Rapper and
Sure.
a lot of different people, but a lot of that gospel-y type of sound, and we just start playing chords, and then he hits those chords, and I was just like, I was smoking cigarettes on patios, and I was like, that's a great line.
You just like riffed that?
Yeah, I riffed it. And I was like, that should be the staple line. And I was like upset, because I just lost. I just met a guy 2 days ago at a house that like kind of batted his shoulder to me, who's now one of my best friends today. And he offered me his couch after he saw who I was working with. I'm now on his couch, and I just lost my entire EP. That's like literally about to go into mix and master pretty much after this LA trip. And I'm like, this is a year of work of me and I'm like, dude, I'm so young at this point. I'm trying to just be respectful and not ask too many questions and just
sure,
just make it. And I'm like, what the you gotta be kidding me. And you're not going to put out some rough bounces with some like demo vocals. I mean, you probably should have, but I'm pissed. So this song, as much fun as it is, I remember in the moment I was just upset, so it's a fun song, but it was me kind of I think maybe that's why it hits so hard, is because it's Cigarettes on Patios is a song about partying.
Yeah.
But the way I'm singing it, I'm upset. You can almost tell, because I'm the second verse, I'm here we go again.
Yeah.
Here we go again. Me saying here we go again wasn't here we go again. Let's
yeah, it's not a joyous feel.
Yeah, and people took it like that, which is great because it's a party song. But it was more here we f***ing go again.
Yeah.
Another f***ing thing to deal with, And we cut it, and I called Develop that night at 3 a.m. and I'm like, dude, I got something, bro. I'm I know this one is hot. I knew it. I was I know, and I still feel that way on songs that don't hit, But he's I'm I got something. And he's like, all right, let me hear it. And I send it to him, and he never calls me back right away, ever at that time. He's a busy guy. He's doing this. He just won a Grammy. And he calls me back 5 minutes later. He's like, dude, I just listened to it 3 times. It's a fucking hit. And he's like, call Cheon right now. You just left, call him. See, we're here. I'm here for another 4 days, 3 days. Let's get back in. Let's wrap this shit up. And so call him. We could get in 2 days later. He's I got a 3-hour, 4-hour block. We get in, we reorganize some stuff. We cut the bridge, and that was it. It was done. The demo was done. And then it was that's how the song got made. And we knew that was the staple. We knew that was the core of what everything around it was going to be at the time. And I was still tapping into other things. I was still rapping already. I was still making other pop songs, but whenever we had meetings, that was the song we played.
Sure.
And yeah, and 6-8 months later, whatever it was, probably 6 months. It felt like a long time to me at the time, but probably pretty soon it was we just got lucky. We had a meeting with one of the A&Rs at Scooter's office for Justin for some reggaeton, and he just played my at the end of the meeting, and the guy liked it, and the rest was pretty much history.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you actually have a career.